Good morning again. This is Kamera. We're on day number 65, Deuteronomy 21, 22, and 23. Moses is still addressing the people of Israel before they head to the other side of the Jordan, where the children of Israel will be receiving their lands. And of course, they have to do battle before they get their lands. But Moses is actually going through a lot of regulations, the do's, the don'ts, and if this happened, what should you do, that type of thing. And so some of the things, I'm just going to go through some of the things that they talked about. You might want to, please read. Please read the word for yourself. To be honest with you, this is one of those areas where I was like disappointed that God allowed certain things to happen and the rules that they placed in effect. Oh my God, I remember the first time I ever read this, and I went to Bible study at my church at the time, and I was saying, I can't believe God let this happen. I can't believe God had rules like that. I can't believe He let them do this. Whew, let me tell you, it was not nice. I'm telling you, there are times you're going to read stuff you just don't agree with. And at that time, the leaders of the Bible study would just say, well, it was in there, so you just got to deal with it. You got to accept it. And I was like, but I don't understand. I don't understand. My God allowed those things to occur, right? And, of course, I was in my 20s or what have you. And so, yeah, still a lot to learn. But spiritually, I really just wanted to know, and I couldn't believe my God allowed certain things, had rules like that. And so, again, when you have those questions, sometimes people can't answer those questions. And I'm a true believer. There are some things you're not going to like what God allowed to occur in the Bible. So I would take it to Him. And that's the only way I would get my peace. That's the only way where I would get wisdom, where I would get direction. But sometimes I still look and I just shake my head and say, thank God for Jesus Christ. So changes were made when He came. And also, let's not forget, also, there were no rules in place at that time. And they were taught common sense. They were taught the do's and the don'ts, how to treat each other and each other's property. So there are some of the things. For instance, if someone was murdered and they were found in someone's field, and there were no witnesses on how this person was murdered, then the priest had to do certain things like go and do certain rituals and just to cleanse their community, because they wanted their community to be blessed. And so once they did those sacrifices or what have you, then the whole community would be purged of that guilt. Another one is if the men went out to battle and they found themselves attractive to a certain slave or captive, and in order to marry her, she had to shave her head, she had to clip her nails, she had to do all this stuff, and then he could marry her. So now she's clean. We're taught that the children of Israel could not marry outside of their own people, but I see here that if they did find someone who they captured, they shaved that person, cleaned her up real good, and then they could marry her. But get this though. When I tell you that God is fair, and there are some fair things, let's say he decided he no longer wanted that woman, then he couldn't just discard her, no any kind of way, and then she's now captured by someone else and slave. No, she's free. She's free. So, and if a man had two wives, this is the thing though, this is where favoritism comes in. Man has two wives, and one of the wives, his favorite wife have a kid, right? Okay, no, the one who's not favorite has a kid. Okay, that's the firstborn. The other wife who he is crazy about, the one he's in love with, his favorite wife has a kid. Just because that's your favorite wife, that second kid is not the one who gets the inheritance. So they were fair with that. The first kid is the first kid. He gets the inheritance. And a firstborn inheritance. Let's say, oh my God, this one right here. Oh my gosh. You had a stubborn or rebellious son. You can't handle your son, or you don't like how your son's life turned out. You take him to the priest, or you take him to the officials. They can stone him to death. So, yeah, you want to get rid of your kid? Yep, he can be stoned to death. They also talked about, what happens if there was an execution by hanging. So you guys might want to read this stuff. And I'm telling you, not everything's going to make you happy. You're going to be upset. Don't shut down the Bible because of that. Ask God to help you to deal with it. It was during those times. Another one was, okay, if there was a wandering, like if someone found something of someone else's, like for instance, they found a wandering goat or a wandering ox, um, they found someone's clothing, they're supposed to hold that thing until that person locates it, the owner locates it. You know how we be like finders keepers? No, you had to be responsible for that person's ox or goat or what have you until that person came and found it. If you found something that wasn't yours, you need to return it, that type of thing. So you see what God is teaching them? And so men can't wear women's clothing, women can't dress like men, that type of thing. That was covered in there as well. If someone married a virgin, and hey Jen, I need you to turn it down just a little bit. If a man married someone and he finds that she's not, or he accuses her of not being a virgin, the mom and dad had to show proof that she was a virgin, which is basically a sheet that showed blood, because you know when virgins do it for the first time, they bleed. And if the man was found wrong, this is the part that gets me. If he was found wrong, not wrong, but lied on this woman just to get out of that relationship, then he would, of course, be punished, have to pay a fine, and then she have to stay married to him. The part I don't like is if it is found that she did not, that he was telling the truth, stoned. But anyway, why can't she be forgiven and pay a fine, right? I'm just saying. So adultery, both man and woman involved in adultery would have to die. If the man raped a woman, see, there's other things there where women may accuse men of rape, but in this case right here, there is a situation where if a woman was raped, the man would be stoned. He would be killed. He would be punished for that, stoned. So there's some other thing that go on about if a woman accuses a man of rape. So you read this stuff, guys. I'm telling you, it's something that, and you might not agree with it. I'm telling you, ask God for direction, ask God for peace, ask God for wisdom, and remember this was back in that time, and we all know that rules change as time progressed. So and went so far even talking about if men's testicles are crushed. As far as when they go to worship or that type of thing, if the man's testicles are crushed, illegitimate children, regulations for that, regulations for if Edomites or Egyptians wanted to worship. God tells them don't turn away the Edomites and the Egyptians. Isn't that something? However, the Ammonites and the Moabites, they had to work like 10 years, 10 generations. I think it's 10 generations before they can attend worship. Runaway slaves, if slaves run away and you don't return them to their owner, they're free. Yeah. And they discuss interest. If someone borrows something from you, also as far as interest goes, should you charge them interest or not? Vows, if you make a vow, payments of that. So basically that's 21 and 23. A lot of regulations, stipulations. And I'm telling you, this is one of those areas that I was upset the first time I read it, and I had to talk to God about that situation. We don't know everything. Sometimes a lot of our leaders, they don't know everything either. So you have to take it to the one who knows everything. If you have a hard time dealing with it, ask God to help you to accept it, deal with it, give you wisdom in that situation. Don't just shut the books on God, okay? And keep in mind that was during a different time. And as time progressed, rules changed, and they became more fair. So that was day number 65. Deuteronomy 21 and 23, okay? So again, as you read the word, see God and see him, okay? Keep him involved in his whole study, okay? All right, God bless you. Have a God bless filled day 65.